I spent my whole damn life in the city. I could go for broke, but the capital is in me. I spent my whole damn life in the city. Anywhere I go, DC's coming with me. I spent my whole damn life in the city. I could go for broke, but the capital is in me. I spent my whole damn life in the city. Anywhere I go, DC's coming with me. I spent my whole damn life in the city. I could go for broke, but the capital is in me.
Welcome, everyone, to District Divided, a DC sports podcast, more specifically, a Washington Commanders podcast. I am Amit, and that is KDot. KDot, we lost to the Chicago Bears. That's why we're here. We need to talk about this game. I don't know that we want to talk about this game, but we need to talk about this game. We lost at home on a short week, 40-20, to a team that had basically not won an entire season. How are you doing?
I'm great, man. I saw a lot of things that, I think are good building blocks. And, in the post-Snyder era, it's always nice to see things that, the ship's headed in the right direction,
Of course. Yeah, exactly. Lots of great building blocks last night that we are going to get into right now. Now, you guys some of you have already heard my thoughts. I put out an instant reaction yesterday, so you already know where I'm at. KDot, what is your reaction to the game, and what is your feeling now the day after?
It was a fucking embarrassment. That's the thing I keep going back to. It was an embarrassment. Every which way I look, it's embarrassing. And I know me, I know you, I know majority of people that are watching. Every one of us is probably in a text group thread, and you were the brunt of everything last night if you had fans of other teams. It was fucking pain. It was Now, the thing is, I'm looking at my girlfriend right now. She's sitting on the couch watching TV. And
can she coach?
Night, she's better than the fucking guys that they got now. Before the game, I had this pit in my stomach. And I'm sitting on the side of the couch, and I'm just kind of rocking back and forth. She's like, "What's wrong with you?" I was like, "We should win this game. We should win this game probably pretty big." The closer we get to it, the more nervous I'm getting that if we don't do that, this is going to be really, really embarrassing for me. And what ended up happening for us, a fucking embarrassment. It was terrible. It felt like shit. It felt like absolute dog shit. The being happy post Dan Snyder to looking at any sort of positivity that was what I have with this season, or even knowing that I'm supposed to have some mid-level, even-keeled thought process between what's happening, because this year's just an evaluation. It's just an evaluation. Who else as far as... No, it fucking hurt. It just felt like no one was prepared for what it is that was going to happen last night. No one. The defense played like absolute garbage. The offense, yeah, you guys get some credit for certain things at certain points, but it's the fucking Chicago Bears. It's the Bears. You're supposed to...
I'm going to stop you there. I wouldn't even give them credit, because I look at the first half stats, 307 yards for the Chicago Bears. Right, 14-game losing streak, 84 for the offense. Sam Howell threw for 388 at the end. That's great. If you didn't watch the game, you go 388. He had a good game. He didn't. Let's be real. Please continue.
55 fucking dropbacks in a row. They didn't call any fucking runs. So, yeah, it's going to pad your goddamn stats, especially when they're playing a soft shell defense, and the defense is trash. So, it's not... We did nothing that we were supposed to do in that game. And no, with a performance like that, there is nothing to hang your hat on. There's nothing positive to glean out of it. There's not some through line that you're like, oh, at least this guy's getting some experience. Fuck all that shit. No one wins or learns anything of value by getting embarrassed on national fucking TV to the Chicago Bears, who were 0-14 leading up to the fucking game.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Completely. And that might be the worst loss maybe ever, just considering it, at least in the past few years. Like, you think about the Monday Night Massacre with Philadelphia. That was brutal, of course. You think about when we played the Giants and we ran that fake field goal that Hunter Smith gets rocked on just before halftime. That's obviously bad. Those were games that were like, hey, this could go either way. This was not supposed to be one of those, right? We get the new ownership bounce. We get Snyder out. Vibes are high. Third straight sellout, short week. No one's able to prepare on either side. We should just beat the shit out of this team. This is supposed to be where the Friday after you get to enjoy the talk shows. You get to enjoy the national media coverage. Hey, the Commanders looked really good. Sam Howell could be a guy. Like, this is exciting for them. They've got Atlanta next. Let's see what they do. Instead, you're hearing Justin Fields. He is on fire now. Do the Bears keep him? DJ Moore, unguardable. Commanders can't tackle, but who cares about the Commanders? You have been pushed aside once again. You want to be a part of the national conversation. You have been pushed aside once again. To me, KDot, this falls on the coaches. We'll get into that in a moment. I know that you and I both wanted to talk about Magic Johnson's tweet, which I'm going to read now, and then I'm going to ask you about your reaction to that. So Magic Johnson, and this is important to know, I'm sure most of you do, but he's part owner of our team now. He is part owner of the Washington Commanders, and he tweeted last night, almost immediately after the game, "Tonight, the Commanders played with no intensity or fire. We didn't compete in the first half and got down 27-3 heading into halftime. It was too big of a hole to climb out of, and that is why we ended up losing 40-20. KDot, your reaction to the tweet?
Fucking awesome to see it. Awesome to see it. I think that, like, to me, when you're watching the game last night, I think one would say actions speak louder than words, right? And they did a great job during the broadcast of having single shots of certain guys, key figures within the organization throughout the fucking game. And to me, you could glean a lot of information from what it is that they were doing and they were showing on camera. Magic Johnson is shown basically by himself sitting in his box, not happy, looking at what's happening on the fucking field. And you can see that there's a competitor in there. There's a dude that's a winner in there. There's a guy that knows what it takes, regardless of sport, to what it means to win. And you can see he's not fucking satisfied. Thank God for that tweet to just double up on what it is.
It's the only good thing about last night.
You could see it. Josh Harris laughing up, having a storm, showing a cell phone to the other guys in the owner's booth, whatever. I don't give a fuck. You're a nerd. You're the nerd with the paycheck. I don't need you to know shit about football. I don't need you to know shit about competitiveness. Cool. You got the one dude in the room that I'm hoping you guys listen to that does look upset and angry, and I hope that he's the one that's telling you guys what to do and what not to do. Or at least you got to hire this guy, hire that guy. Didn't bother me at all. Ron Rivera, motherfucker, what do you do? The only thing I saw this man do he gets upset at a ref every 3-4 times a game. That's pretty much the only thing I see his ass doing on any sidelines. Jim Haslett, up until the third quarter, is the only time I saw him with any sort of paper or on the microphone.
I'm assuming you mean Jack Del Rio.
Jack Del Rio.
With Jim Haslett, too. I'm sure it was at home. Probably the same thing. Yeah.
Sorry, Jim. You caught a stray.
We do apologize to Jim Haslett formally.
Yeah, man.
Please
I don't mind you. I don't hate you, bud. But Jack fucking doing shit. Like, every time that they show the fucking Bears, I got Matt Eberflus running around like he's fucking trying to land planes. I get the defensive coordinator with the pages up. What are we going to do with that? Run him here, run him here. What the fuck are y'all doing? Yeah. So the only person I looked at and was like, that's my guy, is Magic. You can see it. If you could look and see the way that I was sitting on my couch watching the game and seeing Magic, felt like a fucking mirror. Like, you could just see the disappointment and the anger, and this is not no. I'm evaluating everything right now. Some of these motherfuckers are going to have to go.
Fair enough. Hey, sounds like you're echoing some of my sentiments. And so just real quick on the Magic Johnson thing, on the Josh Harris thing, Magic is a competitor. He is a winner. He is used to this. He's been involved in sports for a long time, and I'm sure he sees himself on the field as some of these kids, or as kids, young men, players. Right. He sees himself, and he sees the ass whooping that's taking place on national TV when it's supposed to be our celebration day. Yep. Josh Harris laughing, smiling, etc. I don't have a problem with it, because to me, it's more of he's the long-term guy. He knows, hey, this isn't my product. Like, I own it, but this isn't me. Right. So like, what's going on right now? Let me have a good time with the people that are over here. Yeah, this fucking sucks, but I also know this is not representative of who I am or the team I'm about to put out. Right. So no concerns there. The junkies getting after him. Shut the fuck. Come on, relax. I know it's easy for clicks. It's very irritating when I see clickbaiting like that.
Go ahead. Quick. The only thing I'll say is that I can understand it being annoying when you're as frustrated as you are as a fan watching the game. You don't want to see anyone having fun.
But let's remember But
keep it locked in.
Thank you.
Overflow.
Let's remember the roles and responsibilities, because here's the next point. When I see Ron Rivera and Jack Del Rio looking like that, we got a big fucking problem. Right? Your team, you go through training camp. You've been with this team for 4 years. You go through this over and over and over again. And this is what happens. You look like this. For those on YouTube, of course, you saw that. But for those on Spotify, iTunes, etc., it's just a blank stare.
Yep.
There's nothing, right? Your team is getting torched. Confidence is being drained live in front of millions of people. You've sold out your stadium. You're wearing the All Blacks. I don't care how you feel about it, but you're wearing a new loud uniform. And you are letting the nation know you've mailed it in completely. At halftime, interviewed. What'd you tell the guys? Well, I let them talk. Okay, so back to KDot's point. What the fuck do you do? Right? The guys talk. What do they say? Oh, we just need to play for each other. I could have made that up too. Clearly, this guy has lost to me the locker room. You hear Terry McLaurin after the game. They ask him if he was surprised by it, and I'm paraphrasing here. Not really. That's shocking. Not really. You're not surprised by that? Like, and he talked about the intensity and the fire and how one team really wanted it, the other didn't. Jack Del Rio. This is 4 straight games of 30-plus points. KDot, you've been banging on this drum for a while. You have 6 first-round picks on this defense. Quan Martin apparently can't get on the field. And I want to touch on our second-round pick. I want to touch on the Emmanuel Forbes benching I did yesterday. I'm doing it again.
Yeah.
You've drafted a guy for the long term. You've drafted a guy to be a player in this league. When you don't have a clear strategy as to what the goal of the season is, you get shit like you did yesterday. You're killing this kid. I don't care how bad he's playing. You are killing this kid. And it was accentuated when Kendall Fuller tried to jump a route and DJ Moore danced from the 20-yard line for his 3rd score of the game. He made the exact same fucking error. Did he get benched? Nope. Did St. Juice get benched? No. Everyone's struggling. Stop making the kid a fucking target. Like, it just doesn't help. It does not help. People going after Emmanuel Forbes. We did the same shit with Jamin Davis. Thank God he had a good season last season. But, like, you cannot just continue to go after the youngest member of a team. That's crazy. There is plenty more accountability, and it starts with the coaches, and it starts with the apathy. When there is a significant difference between your fandom and your passion and the apathy that's being shown by your coaches, that's the issue. That's the issue. I'm going on a hell of a rant here. So I'm going to, KDot, back to you for a moment. I got one last thing after.
Let's touch on the Emmanuel Forbes. You said a lot. There's a lot in our heads. I will say this. The Emmanuel Forbes thing, he has been playing like shit.
He has, and of course.
The defense has been playing like shit. I have no love lost as far as Jack Del Rio on what it is I think the coaching staff is doing as far as this defense and the amount of talent they have compared to what the product is. Nowadays, there are certain cornerbacks. There's always been cornerbacks that can come out rookie season and have great seasons. Champ Bailey, like looking for us. Like there are guys, even looking at Patrick Surtain, Sauce Gardner, Christian Gonzalez in fucking New England. Like there's guys that are coming out and they perform immediately. The thing with me is that you're right. They're using him. If he's not ready to play, you don't leave him out there as a starter to fucking get burnt every fucking time. Like, that's not something you do to try to build a guy's confidence or coach him up to being what it is that you want as far as your pick. Which is why I always fucking hate that draft bust label. The draft bust label. Usually it's because the coaching is not necessarily there to get these guys to where it is they need to be. And it fucking makes me upset that this guy has become the... Because, I mean, what? Forbes goes out. It's not like they fucking went and stopped everything. Like, it's like you said, Fuller got burnt immediately. Danny Johnson got burnt fucking immediately. It's just the ball wasn't thrown properly. Like, it's just...
Because we played a bad team.
Right. So, like, there's the element of, like, Forbes should not be the lightning rod for all this shit. But, yeah, everyone deserves some fucking criticism about the way they're fucking playing. And the thing with Forbes, I think, to me, that is the most frustrating thing is tackling, which we knew was going to be an issue, potentially. But the tackling is that to me is like, I see just on a human being level.
Yes.
On a human being level, your confidence is shot, brother.
Completely. And it's important to nurture the confidence. That's where the coaching
Right.
comes in. You're putting people in position to succeed. On the subject of Christian Gonzalez, KDot, I firmly believe if we had taken Gonzalez
It'd be the same thing.
and the Patriots took Emmanuel
It'd be the same
Forbes,
thing.
you're looking at two completely different players.
Yeah.
Gonzalez is lost and Forbes has 3 pick sixes right now.
Probably.
Because Belichick, like, that's coaching. That's putting players in a position to succeed. That's making them feel good about themselves.
Right.
That's playing a zone corner in a zone scheme. We have played Emmanuel Forbes man-to-man. He does not do it that often, but we've been doing it nonstop. And then you blame the kid. Then you say the players need to take accountability. So when we say we'll see the tape, buddy, the tape won't tell you anything. The tape is not going to tell you anything because it's not the tape that's the problem. It's you're putting them in the position to fail. That's the problem. 100%. It's been 4 years.
But that's where I go to. That's why I say I hate that fucking draft bust label for most things, right? I hate that draft, but it is situational, of course. But there's but I think to me, a bust is Jamarcus Russell. I'm not even going to try, right? So it's like oh, well, we had you here talent-wise, and we got it wrong. Usually it's no, you need to coach these motherfucking guys up. Take a look at this last draft. There's not a single thing that you can point to that says there's anything positive coming out of it. It's not because every player that we drafted is completely talentless. No, it's because we don't have a coaching staff willing to do it. Look, we got first-round fucking draft picks on the front four. We got skill position players that have looked great at times. Mm-hmm. Nothing's working because the coaching's not fucking there. It's just not there. It's not existent. That's the thing with I literally do not know. Please explain to me. I don't know what Ron Rivera does. I don't know. Like, there was one part of me that when he got hired initially, me and you, we talked about, and the Carolina locker room speeches from him, getting the guy fired up when he would start cursing to do this and the other. And you ask, what did you do at halftime? I let them talk to each other. They do that. So the players, they're gonna do that. What do you do defensively? Well, Jack Del Rio, he controls everything on the defense. What do you do offensively? Well, I mean, Eric Bieniemy, he's the guy that's in charge of everything.
And he coaches them too hard, by the way.
Right, and he doesn't have the experience that I have just yet, so he's not entirely sure how it is that he needs.
Would much rather they look like my defense over here. Del Rio gets people.
Ron, what the fuck? The fuck? Jack, I got smoke for you. You have done nothing with the talent that you have on this fucking defense. You go talk to how many teams would kill for the players that we have on that It's extremely frustrating to see guys wasting away and have the careers being wasted behind this mediocre bullshit, this nonsense of urgency. It's an embarrassment. I go back to that first word. It's a fucking embarrassment. These dudes are supposed to be coaching potentially for the rest of their careers. This is supposed to be an evaluation year on everybody that's on this roster because new ownership's in town. Have you already packed it in? Have you have no confidence already that you're going to be back? Have you not given a shit? If that's the case, then you need to do the players a favor. You need to do new ownership a favor and get the fuck out of the room so somebody else can step up and see what it is that they're capable of doing. Even if you have a modicum of self-fucking respect, you should do that. Yeah,
completely agree. I would be shocked if anybody said this is where we talk about Josh Harris being the longer-term guy, having a system in place, stuff like that. I don't anticipate any, at least right now, midseason departures. If we have 2 more games like that or something, yeah, actually, it could get so bad that you do see Bieniemy get an opportunity. That wouldn't be until later in the season because you don't want to put too much right now. So it won't happen. Go ahead.
And Eric Bieniemy, who's been the dude that I think has caught the least amount of flack, you're catching shit too. We've been critical, but not loud about the fact of we don't get your fucking pass run ratio at all. And the same criticism I have for Scott Turner when it came to motherfucker. You need to use the run to work off the pass and vice versa. You're not doing that. You do that a couple times for flourishes in games, but beyond that, you become one-sided shit, which all it does when you're throwing the ball 100% of the fucking time, you're going to have more yards because it's easier to pick them up. It shit just looks a little more sweet than necessary when they have soft shell fucking defense and you can drive down the field.
He is going to be an accomplice to the murder of Sam Howell if it continues this way.
Yes.
Because he is putting him in positions to get hit. Sam Howell's pocket presence clearly needs some work, right?
Was
He's
it 5
stepping
sacks last
into
night?
5. Now, there were 3 on the final drive, right? We said we would allow 2, but nonetheless, 5 is 5, right? Like, it's a problem. It's a
And
problem.
he got hit a bunch.
Dude, a ton. Let's jump over to the comment mailbag because there are a lot of people that, people are hurting right now, right? Our Commanders fan base is hurting right now. Like, that was, like you said, a fucking embarrassment. And I make the case that that is the worst loss we have had ages. And that includes the Monday Night Massacre. That includes that game against the New York Giants. We were down, it felt like 35-0 at halftime or something like that. That's what I would say. That's me, because of the expectations and because of the energy that was coming into this game. To lose by 20, we got blown out at home by a team that hadn't won in a year.
There's no bigger rug pull I've ever experienced.
Rug pull is a perfect description for it.
Yeah,
Perfect
it's like I've had games that might have hurt more. I've had games that might feel as though they've been more futile, but I have never had, and I think that was the thing, was that the reason I got the butterflies before the game itself was that every single thing you could think of was tracking one way.
Yeah.
And it was just like, there was a part, do I still have that Dan Snyder fear? Is that still on me? Is that fear still there? And then everything that could possibly go wrong went wrong immediately.
Yep.
And it was like we knew. And the thing was, even though we were coming back, and part of me thought we might come back and win that game in the second half.
Of course, because you're playing a bad team.
I was more angry the prospect of them coming back, honestly. Yeah. I don't know why, but I was more angry because I was
because of the same shit again. This is what we do. And
you're gonna skate
people are gonna forget. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Anyway, so let's jump over to the comment mailbag from 2 videos. So we had the preview episode, we had my instant reaction yesterday. And so it's going to be fun to contrast the 2. We're going to speed through it because we actually have quite a few comments here, KDot. Vindo, we're going to start with the preview episode. Vindo writes, us 42, them 6. Appreciate the comment. Honestly, that was quite similar to what KDot and I thought, similar to what Jay Gruden thought, similar to what John Keim thought. By the way, shout out to John Keim, who is, he's been covering this team for a long time. He's normally very level-headed. He's the KDot of reporters, if you will, just very level-headed, calm. He broke yesterday, and you deserved it, honestly. Like, you thoroughly deserve to be able to voice your opinion, John. We thoroughly appreciate what you do for this team, and I'm sorry that they are actively breaking us right now. Then we go over to Blood Clot. Share with us the South Korean Jersey Club. KDot, you do need to do that. My prediction, 31-10 Washington. Appreciate it, Blood Clot. 21-point margin of victory, very close to what the actual margin of victory was. Of course, it was for the Bears. Then we go to Flomix, 29-31, Truth That Truth. Appreciate that. Followed by, I think Jack Del Rio adapts his defense to the talent. That said, I think the talent here, if applied, grasp, they're young, could be as good as Frisco, San Francisco. Could be.
I don't understand that. What?
I did the best I could with it. There are a couple typos as well, but like, could be as good as San Francisco, certainly from the talent standpoint.
I think the first thing, not going that far. That being said, because I do believe that you can pick up bad habits long enough. So I don't know. I got question marks about this entire defense now.
Well, this is talk about ruining personnel.
Yes,
we're at that point.
Yes, yeah. So I'm there, but the Jack Del Rio adapts his defense to the talent he has.
Yeah,
he doesn't adapt shit into shit. It's a base level rudimentary defense, and he doesn't do anything beyond that rudimentary defense.
Yep, I completely agree. We've talked about the lack of stunts before. You have 4 first-round picks on the line. The Chicago Bears were dropping like flies on both sides of the ball. Nothing changed.
Nothing.
That's coaching. Then we got Vindo, and this was in the preview episode, but this happened after the game. Okay. Am I the only one not upset about this game? Like, I understand it's embarrassing, but I honestly don't think it can get worse. Okay. I expect them to bounce back over these next couple of weeks with Atlanta and the New York Giants, then home against the Eagles. No one is expecting anything from this team anymore. And I think it's just not the same as it used to be, even with this loss. We have a new identity with a new owner who actually cares and hasn't had an offseason to fully implement his vision for this franchise. So that's why I'm really not fazed by this team. As long as Sam stays healthy, I think we'll be okay in the long run. Forbes needs some milk. My goodness. Sorry for the long text, but I'm really not fazed by this loss, guys. Let me know what you guys think. Hart, first off, Vinda, we love you.
Yeah,
we love you too. I think that is a level-headed. That is more of the long-term. Hey, in the moment, this sucks, but these aren't Josh's guys. We've sort of talked about that. And it's taking that emotion out of it and going, hey, in the long run, seem to be okay, is what Vindo's saying.
My only Vindo, I'm with you for the most part. That's why when you were saying it's like the worst loss we ever, I'm more of an embarrassment, rug pull, that sort of thing than it is what. The only thing I will say that we need to be cautious about is this. There are some things that could happen over the course of the season, and me scare the shit out of me from an insidious standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
You can have a situation where the guys play so fucking poorly that we don't pick up certain guys that need to be picked up. They go on to flourish or something somewhere else in our evaluation going into next year. I need to see things on the field that allow us to truly evaluate who needs to be here and who doesn't need to be here. Like that to me is the worst that could happen is that to me is like Washington being the Washington we've experienced over the last 2 decades, which is they're just do enough where you're just not sure and you need more runway to find out.
I see what you're saying.
That to me would be harmful for whatever the next step would be. Like, I do think that there's talent on this team, right? I think that the front four and the defense is great. I love Cam Curl. There are certain things that I'm like, okay, cool. You look at the PFF rating like Kendall Fuller. You wouldn't know it last night, but I don't know exactly because everything just looks so poorly. Is that just the coaching? Is the coaching now affecting the players' performance to a point where now they're a problem? Like, I need to have clearer answers to make it easier for the football guys when they come in this offseason to make the right choices and not the wrong ones.
I think that's very well said. But it also puts us in a bit of a catch-22, KDot, right? Where, like, we have these coaches. They're probably not going anywhere for this season, or at the very least, not right now. Not right now. But these are the same guys putting these guys in positions where you can't even properly evaluate, right? So it becomes depressing to put it mildly, right? Like, it's
there's
tough.
also the element of, like, if you're a Ron Rivera guy that got drafted, I'm probably going to put you a little lower than I'm going to put some other guys. Like, you want some sort of clarity. Usually that means, okay, the team just acts poorly. They're playing poorly. This guy doesn't have to. I don't know. I'm just saying that there's.
Of course. And so why don't we get to Tony's comment? Shout out, Tony. Tony, right. I'm pissed. This coaching staff puts this team together, drafting developmental players and bargain bin free agents. How about coaches need to coach better? Tony? Amen, brother. And in case it wasn't obvious, we have transitioned to yesterday's instant reaction video. Then we go over to Patriot Clips. And I want to shout out Patriot Clips for a moment because he or she has been adamant about this run pass ratio since week 1 and has posted the dropbacks versus design runs over and over and over again. So Patriot Clips, you've been on it since day 1. Want to give you your props there. I need a refund on NFL Sunday Ticket. This season is over. We just got destroyed by the 0-14 Bears, and people still think Eric Bieniemy has an offense. He deserves time for sure, but this offense is a joke. Fire Ron and Jack both. And there is a reply from Blood Clot. Instant buyer's remorse. I feel you. Those are the 2 comments there, Kate. On any reaction?
It's like I said near the end of a regular pod. Yeah, Eric deserves a lot of. There's not just the run pass ratio. Why isn't Terry McLaurin and Jahan Dotson being more involved in the offense?
5 targets each yesterday. 55 dropbacks. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, 55 straight. Without a run.
My God. Okay. Yeah.
55 plays without a design run.
God.
That's a different, right?
Right.
There was a portion of the game that I thought Terry was in the locker room. Like, I literally did not know he was on the field.
Yep.
So look, if he brought the entire Kansas City offense here, which is lack of running game, and we don't know what to do because we don't have wide receivers, it's not going to work here. And you're not scheming to the talent. It did kind of look like Kansas City, and they thought Logan Thomas was Travis Kelce last night. Like, it's just, there is an element of like, he just brought the Kansas City offense here and is not adapting it at all to who it is we have.
Yeah, got to agree with that. We'll see how they adjust. I mean, they're under a microscope after a game like that. Then we got DJ Turner. Shout out DJ, fellow Carlton Knight, college classmate. Had to loll at the "I didn't do anything at halftime" line from Rivera. Yeah, we all did. It was just like, we were all curious to hear what he said at halftime as soon as he was interviewed out of there. And it really was nothing. That's more or less what he said. I let the guys talk to each other. Cool. I could do that too, KDot. Okay, let's continue.
I couldn't.
No?
I couldn't keep my mouth shut.
Well, that's true.
That's the other
true.
thing. It's like, because you have to go out of your way to not say anything. You get in that locker room.
Dude, we were down 27-3 at halftime.
You're the head coach.
How do you not say a word?
How do you not say something?
How do you not say a word?
Like,
anyway.
Did he go into an office? Like, how do you not say something? Like, that is literally, does Ron Rivera have dementia? That's not the guy that I saw on the videos in Carolina. He would have said something.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, on the Ron Rivera note, this is the most recent comment, but let's jump over to Blood Clot for a moment. Shout out Blood Clot OG over here. Ron Rivera didn't even seem to care. He didn't even speak to the players at halftime. He said he let them talk to each other. Zero accountability. He even smiled at the boos going into the locker room. It was like he wanted to tribute this loss to Dick Butkus and RIP Dick Butkus. As soon as they mentioned his death before the game, I knew we were going to lose. It fits the script. It's very funny that that's mentioned. And first off, rest in peace to Dick Butkus. Because KDot, my brutally honest reaction when I saw that news was, oh fuck. It wasn't just oh man, we lost a legend of the game. It was, this directly impacts our game. I watched this with Ridge Wear Your Helmet at, who has a comment here, and you'll know I watched the game with him when I read the comment, along with his dad. And we all had different things. So we do this like picks pool together where you pick teams based on level of confidence, 1 through 16, right? 16 games. So 16 gets you the most points if you're correct, but you also lose the most points if you're wrong. We all saw the Dick Butkus news and dropped our Washington pick. We were like, wait, not as confident anymore. Murnal, Ridge Wear Your Helmet, had actually changed his QB from Sam Howell to Justin Fields. Good thing he did, because once that happened, he was like, wait, Justin's going to go off. And that he did. So there's something at play there for sure.
Before the game, as I'm on the couch, in my nervousness, talking to the girlfriend, I was like, they start going through the clip show for Dick Butkus. Yeah. And I was like, babe, because she doesn't give a shit about football. And I'm like, hey, this guy passed away today. He's Dick Butkus. I was like, he's got the funniest name in the history of football. But if you made fun of him, he'd punch you in the fucking jaw. And I was like, he's also one of the greatest Chicago Bears that have ever existed. And these guys might play for them. He's like, you really think so? I was like,
oh, yeah. Some things, there are plenty of things in life that we don't understand. But oftentimes when something like this occurs, there is some sort of like boost that occurs. That being said, our coaches suck. Let's move on and let's go over to Ridge Wear Your Helmet at. Rant fueled by 3 whiskey sours. LS, laughing like shit. But you're right. These guys got to go. We are a talent wasteland. And that lends itself to your point, KDot, that we can't properly evaluate, right, our players based on what's going on the field, because we are a talent wasteland. 6 first-round picks on defense. We can't tell who's good and who isn't, because no one's put in a position to succeed. And to our earlier point, if you were to swap Christian Gonzalez and Emmanuel Forbes, and I'd be hard-pressed to find anybody that disagrees, I think Emmanuel Forbes having a very nice season in New England while Christian Gonzalez is struggling big time over here.
I agree 100%. I always hated those things where people were like, well, this team should have drafted that one. I was like, hey, did you look at the coaching staff? It doesn't mean that they'd have success there. It would be absolutely terrible. I will say the 3 whiskey sours, I'm very, very proud of you. Extremely proud of you.
Here we go.
That you went and you record, because you asked me whether or not I want to be. I immediately went and got high and was like, I'm vegging out. Right. I'm glad A-Train didn't make a self-destructive appearance and you weren't doing lines in Clarendon. Like, I'm very proud of you. That's the A-Train that I know. That's the Amit that I know. A-Train would have won last night.
I had a responsibility to the people, KDot, and A-Train did make an appearance briefly. It was like, hey, We can forget all about this, buddy. It's gonna be nice and easy. I mean, we know where to go. We know where the solution is. And I was like, hey, Train, hey, buddy, I need to be there for the people. I need to be there for the Commanders fans. And that actually walks right into Matt Regan's comment. Commanders fans tuning to get some much needed venting from their favorite hosts, and KDot is a total no-show. Can't say I'm surprised. Just shows that Amit carries the pod. Lion emoji, eyes emoji, and then garbage emoji as well. Appreciate the comment, Matt. I did have to overpower A-Train yesterday to be there for all of you.
Bravo to you. You gave me an opportunity to do it as well. I did not. Matt, I mean, everybody knows this. Amit does carry this pod. I'm just here. But beyond that, I mean, it's Matt, you should know this. It's like the federal government and the rest of the United States carries the state of Michigan because you guys don't offer anything. I mean, I'm not as bad as them. I'm not bombed out and blown out like Detroit was, but you get it. I mean, I think you can understand that there's usually, you gotta, and maybe one day I'll be on that level or I'll be at a place where I'm an equal, but right now it's his show.
Well, why don't we, first off, that's not true, buddy, but I do appreciate it. And anytime we can get Kate on a Detroit rant, it's a good day. And then we're going to conclude with a bit of an interesting one here. So this is Johnny Consor. Shout out, Johnny. Bill Simmons brought something interesting up on his pod. I know this is a long shot, but is there any world where Bill Belichick comes to DC next year? So I don't think so. I'll start there. It's an interesting question because, of course, Bill Simmons, Pats fan, he's probably frustrated with what happened with the Patriots against the Cowboys. Mac Jones doesn't look very good. Belichick without Brady, there's this discussion about, is he any good? He's going after the wins record. So if he were to leave, maybe he does continue coaching as I talk out this stuff more. It's interesting. I don't see him coming here. I think the trend very much is offensive-minded coach. There's already young offensive-minded coach at that. Like there's already talk about Houston right now with CJ Stroud. They're having a nice year, right? They're playing well. DeMeco Ryans is the head coach. If they continue to have a certain degree of success, well, guess what? That OC is going to get jobs, or at least interviews. And if he leaves, CJ Stroud, despite having a really good year, well, he has to learn a new system all over again unless they promote from within. And there's no guarantee that works. So I do think it would end up lending itself to the more offensive side of things. I suspect Josh Harris sees that trend and understands that, but we'll see. What do you think, KDot?
Well, I'm a religious watcher and listener of Bill Simmons. He's one of my favorites. So shout out to the Ringer. Hire me.
We can't afford to lose you, KDot.
I won't be exclusively theirs.
Okay, good. Do what you
just remote from LA.
Please continue.
No, I don't see it happening at all under any circumstances, really. I think Bill right now has gotten to a point, and this is Belichick, not Simmons, has gotten to a point where he might have stuck around entirely too long, where people are now questioning his legacy as compared to Tom Brady, which I never wanted to see happen because I am a fan of Bill Belichick. I do not think that new ownership here trying to get a wrangle on things would allow someone to have that much power.
I was going to say
the organization. You kind of want to segment it a bit and just see, all right, if you hire Bill Belichick, you are basically saying hands off, he's going to control everything. And if we're going to be completely honest, he has middling success as a GM, middling to bad success as a GM, and him hiring coaches. I mean, we've seen what most of them do post him outside of Mike Vrabel. Not necessarily a good thing.
Right.
Look at Josh McDaniels in fucking Vegas right now. I love if you would have asked me this when Tom was leaving, like if we would have had something or if there was new ownership, I'd have been all for it. I'm already creating a list of coaches that I want to see in Washington, and Bill's not anywhere close to me.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, right now for me, Eric Bieniemy is on the list. Of course, we just need to see more, obviously, and see if he gets the opportunity. Yeah, go for it.
The Eric Bieniemy thing, to me, Eric Bieniemy is offensive coordinator. If we continue going down the road that we're going right now, at the end of this season, I mean, does he get elevated to head? after a season like this, do you fire Ron Rivera and give him a shot at head coach to see what he does in the interim?
That's what I would do. That's what I would do, because it puts him, by the way, this puts Eric in a tough spot, but he does get his opportunity at the same time. I think if it were offered to him before the season, like, hey, you get to take over interim, I think he would jump at that opportunity, because he's probably gone through rounds and rounds of frustration of like going through these interviews and not getting one. So he'd take it however he can right now. I would prefer it in the interim position to see if the team gets a jolt, if the team responds, and if the offense continues to look good. Mm-hmm. Should the offense continue to look good and there's no midseason firing, right? That you begin to potentially open yourself up to losing him to a nicer job. And so that's where I think the slight advantage is to giving him the interim and hoping it works, is because then he's more likely to stay than just move. Right. So like he could go to the Chargers, for example, let's say, right? Brandon Staley's on thin ice right now. I know that they've won a couple now, but if it's the end of the season, this job opens up, but he also sees Justin Herbert over there. I mean, let's be real. There's a conversation there.
There's a conversation. I would say I'm not going to go as far as to say the offense looks good.
I'm saying if it does, look, yeah.
So I was more along the lines of like, if it kind of stays the way it is right now,
then I think you can still give him the interim just to see how he is as the head coach.
That's my thing. I look at this season more than anything. I did not, and are under no auspices that we were going to be competing for a Super Bowl this year. Yeah, and same. To me, this is why
if we beat Philly, we were all in. But
right. But the thing was, like, for me, this year was all about keeping an even kill, because of the grand scheme of things, Dan's gone, right? So this is a year to evaluate who needs to be around for the next guy. And yeah, I'd like to see Eric in the sense of like trying to see what he would look like as head coach, just because I'm rooting for him because of how long he's tried to do this, and I want success for him. But if this offense is clicking at the way that it is right now, in which you look at it in what our only 30-point game comes against the Denver Broncos and they suck. 3 points against Buffalo. Mm-hmm. The Philadelphia Eagles game, that seems like something that could have happened any year, if I'm being completely honest. Like even Taylor Heineke back there, it's an Eagles game. Sure. I do think you give credit though. You have to. You have to.
You know, like 31 points on the road. That's good.
But the run-to-pass ratio, the amount of sacks and everything else, I would say that there have been certain elements of the offense that have looked better than we have seen in quite some time. Does not make for a good offense.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And that's where I say we need to see more. Yeah, right. Okay. Like, and it also gives him a chance to be interim with fewer games, which is a bit less responsibility, puts him in a better spot. Like, you don't want to suddenly give him interim at week 5. Like that's a ton. No. That's a ton to do, right? So like, but if you do it week 12, let's say, or 13, I think it's 14. But like, okay, so there you go. 3 games as interim. We've seen it before. That might be too small a size, but like, there's a conversation. Anyway, we're about to take off because we're running up against a hard stop. This is District Divided DC Sports Podcast, more specifically a Washington Commanders podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode, or if you, I mean, listen, I don't know that you would necessarily, enjoy is not the word. Right. If you felt emotionally moved during this episode, please like the video, please subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and KDot.
Share that shit.
I also want to leave you guys with a quote from Ron Rivera entering this season, just to really put an exclamation point on this whole thing. Asked about job security by John Keim, shout out once again, John Keim. He replied, "If we go 8-1 this year and Josh Harris fires me, and next year they win the division and 40 of the 53 players we drafted, and it's the same quarterback, I'm vindicated. Send me my Super Bowl ring." Shocking quote. Had to look up that was true. It is. We will see you guys next week. Take it easy.
In DC, we're just hoping that you listen.